They weren't there. Not when the hall erupted, not when my name shined in gold, not when my dream finally breathed. But the day Forbes printed my 92M valuation, my father texted 3 words that shattered years of silence. My name is Elias Carter, and for most of my life, I believed silence was a form of peace. But the day my family skipped my biggest moment, I learned something else. Silence can also bruise deeper than words. It was the evening of my university's innovation showcase, the night every top investor, every CEO, every tech scout came searching for the next big idea. The night I was shortlisted for Breakthrough Innovator of the Year. The night my prototype, NeuroSync, a cognitive assist micro device, was going to be unveiled. And the night my family promised they'd be there. I wore the suit I'd saved for. I rehearsed my speech until the mirror looked exhausted. And as I waited backstage, clutching my cue card with trembling fingers, I kept glancing at the entrance. My mother had said, "Of course we'll come, Eli. It's your big night." My father had grunted his usual non-committal, "We'll see." My brother had texted 3 laughing emojis followed by, "Don't expect too much, genius." Still, I believed. When the announcer called my name, "When you meet him, you'll understand why the world wants to bet on him. Elias Carter." The hall erupted. People rose. Lights brightened. Hands clapped like a wave breaking. Cameras flashed. But in the second row, the seats I had reserved with my own money, 4 chairs remained painfully, humiliatingly empty. I felt my throat stiffen. I stepped onto the stage anyway. I spoke. I smiled. I demonstrated. But the applause that came afterward thundered against a hollow inside me. After the event, while investors shook my hand, while journalists asked for photos, while my name trended on the event's social page, I kept checking my phone. No messages. No missed calls. Not even a simple, "How did it go?" The only message I received that night was from my landlord reminding me the rent was overdue. I walked home alone. Streetlights flickered through the fog. My trophy felt heavier than it looked. And when I reached my small apartment, my neighbor's dog barked louder than any welcome I had known. I told myself to forget it, to move on, to work harder. But pain has a strange habit. It sleeps light, like it's waiting to wake again. The next 2 years were a battlefield. Investors backed out. Manufacturers delayed. A competitor accused me of stealing their idea. I didn't. But I didn't have the funds to fight them. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. There were nights when I didn't even have dinner. There were nights I wondered if my family was right, if I was dreaming too big for a person like me. Every time I tried to call home, someone always said, "Busy. Later." Another time, my mother once said, "Your father doesn't understand what you're doing." I wanted to say he never tried to, but I swallowed the words like a stone. Still, I kept going. I lived in a co-working space, showered at a gym, borrowed lab equipment from an old professor, sold my laptop and coded on a borrowed one with missing keys. People laughed. People doubted. People whispered. But hardship has a rhythm, and if you stay long enough, you learn how to dance with it. Then came the night everything shifted. I had been awake for 52 hours, testing the new microchip compatibility. My vision blurred. My hands shook. And then the sensor blinked green. It worked. NeuroSync finally worked. The prototype synced, responded, calculated, learned. I stared at it for a full minute, unable to breathe. Then I laughed. A broken, disbelieving laugh that echoed through the empty lab. I emailed the data, sent the proof, scheduled the meeting, and within a week, I had offers. Big ones, life-changing ones. One investor, a quiet man in a grey suit, said, "Your technology isn't worth millions, Elias. It's worth nations." Within 3 months, NeuroSync Labs was born, and by the end of the year, we hit a valuation even I couldn't comprehend. $92 million. 92 million. My name entered places my family had never imagined. Magazines, podcasts, panels, conferences, but nothing compared to the moment I held the Forbes issue in my hand. My picture on the cover, my story in 10 glossy pages, my name in bold letters. Elias Carter, the mind behind the mind revolution. I stared at it silently. Not smiling, not crying, just breathing. Then my phone buzzed. A message from a number I knew too well. My father. 3 words. 3 words that froze my blood, shook my spine, and cracked open every wound I thought had healed. "We need you." I stared at the screen. I didn't blink. Because those 3 words weren't love. They weren't pride. They weren't reconciliation. No, they smelled like desperation. Fear. And the beginning of something darker. A storm was on its way. One I wasn't sure my heart was ready for. And I hadn't even opened the second message yet. Yes, there was a second message. A message that would flip my world again and drag me back into the very family that once left me standing alone. My father's second message sat on the screen like a live wire. My chest tightened as I finally tapped it open. Your brother is in trouble. Come home. The words felt unreal. For 2 years, they never called. For 2 years, they never showed up. And now suddenly, come home? I stared at the message for long, silent seconds. My office lights hummed faintly. The rain outside dragged across the glass like cold fingers. Something inside me whispered, this isn't about your brother. This is about you. But I went. Not for them. Not for forgiveness. But because closure sometimes requires walking through the fire one last time. The moment I stepped into my childhood home, the air felt heavy, as if memories had been waiting, unblinking, in the corners. My father didn't greet me. He didn't smile. He simply said, sit, we need to talk. My mother hovered near the doorway, wringing her hands. My brother sat with his head down, eyes dark, jaw tight. I took the only empty chair. My father cleared his throat. Your brother made mistakes, financial ones, large ones. I folded my arms. And? He swallowed. Debt collectors showed up. He owes 300,000. My jaw clenched. There it was. The reason for the sudden affection, the sudden urgency, the sudden fatherhood. My brother finally spoke, voice small. They said they'd take the house. Please, Eli, you have so much now. Just this once. Help us. I stared at them, all three. The same people who skipped my biggest moment. The same people who vanished for years. The same people who laughed at my dreams. Now they needed the dream they once mocked. Silence thickened until it felt like smoke. My father leaned forward. You're successful now. Don't forget where you came from. I almost laughed. Where I came from? A family that forgot me first? My chest felt tight, not with anger, but with clarity. The kind of clarity that arrives when you finally see people without the fog of love you once begged for. I spoke slowly. You weren't there when I won my showcase. My mother looked down. You weren't there when I almost lost everything. My father looked away. And you weren't there when NeuroSync finally worked. My voice didn't shake. Not this time. But now that Forbes printed a number next to my name, suddenly I matter? My father's face hardened. Is this what success has done to you? I met his eyes. No, this is what your absence has done to me. My brother whispered, Eli, please. For a moment, the room blurred. Not because I was hurting, but because I was finally free of the weight I had carried for years. I stood. My father rose too, desperate. Where are you going? I looked at him with a calm he had never seen from me before. To live my life without the people who only remember me when they need saving. He grabbed my arm, but gently, as if afraid I'd disappear. You can't walk away from family. I pulled my arm back. You walked away first. My mother burst into tears. My brother hung his head. My father's face cracked, not with softness, but with the realization that the son who once begged for their approval wasn't begging anymore. I gave one last glance at the home that raised me, a home built on silence, imbalance, and selective love. Then I stepped out. The door clicked behind me. Quiet final. Back in my car, I exhaled a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for years. My phone buzzed again. Not from them. From Forbes. A new message. Elias, are you available for an interview on the emotional cost of ambition? I looked at the house in the rearview mirror, small, dim, disappearing, and I whispered to myself, I didn't lose anything today. I reclaimed myself. I drove away. Streetlights blurred into soft gold trails. The night felt open, wide, clean, unburdened. For the first time in my life, the future didn't feel like a fight. It felt like freedom, and the chapter that began with a skipped moment ended with a choice I finally made for myself. A choice that sounded like this. I refused to return to the version of me that begged to be seen. And that was the end. Not of my success, but of the story that tried to define me. The chapter closed, completely, silently, finally, and I never looked back again.